Type Podcast.
Here we go. Hello. Sammy, are you ready?
Yes, Dobie, I am.
Where we're going around the block and around the world today, you're going to pick it. This is where we discuss, debate, and deliberate all things diabetes. Representing type 2, that will be me, Dobie Maxwell, representing type 1. How vivacious are you feeling today, Sammy?
I don't know, Dobie. I'm feeling pretty vivacious today.
Well, you're always effervescent and in the know. Ms. Sammy Parker, more with Sammy in a second. Today's episode of JMT, what's it sponsored by? Do you know, Sammy?
The diabetes app.
Right. A free social community app that brings together both type 1 and type 2 diabetics. That will be you, me, plus their supporters. That will be you listening. Find community, resources, and Sammy and me, like you already did, on the diabetes app. Sammy, usually we go around the world, around the block. Today, we're going around the refrigerator. Today, we got a special episode about beverages.
You know, Dobie, we got to talk about the soda, the pop, the whatever.
First of all, I think we have to get it straight. Now, you grew up in
soda.
California. I grew up in Wisconsin. It's soda where you live?
Yes, it's soda. It's not pop.
Now, it's soda where I live, too. But it's pop a lot of places around. Now, where I live, Chicago's a big city. That's about 90 miles away to the south of where I grew up. They say pop.
That's so weird. Like, what kind of pop you want today?
Right, exactly.
It just doesn't sound right.
Green Bay, where the Packers play, the team that beats the Cowboys all the time, they are about 100 miles north. They say pop. Milwaukee says soda. You say soda, I say soda. It was about, now it's down in the south in the U.S., and they say Coke. Everything is Coke. You want a Coke? Yeah. What kind? Sprite. So we got to get on the same page now. You know, Elizabeth Queen Bee, she's in Canada. What do they call it there, Elizabeth, you know?
How about we do this? Watch. I say soda, you say pop. Soda.
Pop. Pop. Elizabeth says pop. So
crazy.
Whatever you call it, it's that bubbly beverage that millions of people drink. And sorry to say, it ain't that good for you.
Yeah. That's so crazy to me. Pop. What kind of pop you want today? Just sounds like a rapper.
Because of the bubbles. Yeah, it's a bubble thing. I can see why they say it.
That's fair.
And I have to say, speaking of Canada, I was up in Canada a couple of years ago for a comedy gig, and I had some time off. And there was a show on the CBC, which is kind of like public broadcasting in the United States. And they had a show about the 10 worst things you can put in your body. And they went down a countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And a lot of it was stuff that you would think like processed meats and snack chips and stuff with additives and stuff like that, pure sugar. But number 2 and number 1, and they said no particular order, is diet and regular soda. They said it's poison no matter what you do. If the sugar doesn't kill you, the chemicals in the diet will. It's horrible. And they would never show that in the States probably because there's so many billions and zillions of dollars spent on advertising. It's a huge product. It's at every...
Crazy how much money is spent on advertising.
We want to uncrazify it.
It's wild. Like, well, first off, just soda in general, it's like very much so linked to type 2 diabetes. And it obviously like affects type 1 as well, is not a causing effect of type 1, which I think is a lot of misconceptions people have. But it's crazy how the negative effects it has on health in general. And so I think that's something that's very important to like recognize because we hear soda so much that it's so normal. Like, oh, I'll have a soda at dinner. Oh, I'm going to stop at McDonald's and get the $1 soda, which, yes, I am guilty about getting a Diet Coke.
I want to stop you right there. Not only the $1 soda, it's the bedwetter size, 72-ounce kidney buster. It's not just $1 soda. It's the giant, huge one. That only came in the last few years. When I was a kid, I walked uphill to school, but a soda was probably maybe 12 to 16 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay. When you go to a fast food place or even a restaurant. Now it's like, we want to blow your kidneys out. It's only $1, but it's like, there's enough there you could take swimming lessons.
You could for sure take swimming lessons. I mean, I've kind of thought about, no, I'm kidding. I thought about trying it. No, but it's very, very, very true. And some things about soda is obviously like it has so many calories in it. So it affects people's...
And they're empty calories.
Very empty calories. It affects people's caloric intake. And it honestly takes up like 10 to 15% of his or her caloric intake, which is crazy. 10 to 15% of people's calories are being consumed in soda.
Let's drop the bomb on that just a little bit. Okay, now I was doing some research before our show. That's why we are in the top 5,000.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's
Dobie.
why I make the big money. And I was reading that a 12-ounce can has got 8 to 10 teaspoons of sugar in it, in a regular can. That's insane. What other food has that much sugar? You might as well just lick a bag of sugar.
It's nauseating.
It's not cane sugar. It's the high fructose corn syrup, which sticks to your inner organs like wax on a car.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible. I didn't even have a regular Coca-Cola till I was 14 on accident because I went through like McDonald's and they gave me like Coke instead of Diet Coke. But I remember being like, this is so sweet. Like, what is this? It was tragic. And it's crazy because you don't realize how, first off, negatively it affects you, but also just what's in it. Like the fact that a regular sized Coca-Cola can is 140 calories and 39 grams of added sugar. Like that's nuts. That's about 10 sugar cubes we're talking about, or equivalent to a Wendy's large chocolate frosty.
I wouldn't even think that would have that much. So it's mind-blowing and frightening. Now, here's something I don't know if people knew, because I didn't know when I was doing the research. But when a beverage truck spills over, say, I don't want to name brands because they're all bad, it's a hazmat situation when it spills on the highway because it's so toxic.
What does that mean?
Hazardous materials.
Oh, hazmat.
You know, when they wear the suits, you know, with just the glass and like a, you know, a whole bodysuit, like look like an astronaut suit. So it's not just, well, we spilled something on the freeway, we'll just hose it off and everything's go. No, it's a hazardous material situation. So that should kind of tell you. Now, when I was a teenager, I would drive old cars. And I don't know if you knew this, there's a trick that when you have corrosion on your battery cable, what do? You pour a can of Coke on it and it eats away the battery corrosion. So if it eats away the corrosion on a car battery, what does it do to your stomach, young lady, Sami, dancer queen? It's almost like you were lucky that you got diagnosed at age 12, because I'm sure your parents kept you away from it. Most kids, you know, you go, oh, you're going to have a Happy Meal and you have a soda. Then you have, oh, they got refills. We'll get a refill on the soda for the car. So I'm not trying to drop these bombs on you to be party poopers, because we're all about the party here at JMT. But these are just facts that you, as a person living with diabetes,
like soda.
you know, whether type 2 or type 1. I mean, granted, you're right. This isn't aimed at type 2, but type 1s can listen up too, because it ain't good for you.
No. I mean, did you know that, I'm not going to remember which one it is, one soda can be used as toilet bowl cleaner?
Probably all of them.
Like, tell me that. Like, you have a big blowout in the bathroom and you can use your soda as a toilet bowl cleaner.
Well, sometimes when people I know, you got to use the hazmat suit in the bathroom because it's pretty toxic, pretty nasty in there. The sad part is, I'm going to admit this because we're aiming at type 2s. I am a type 2. I was addicted to soda. That's a strong word. No, it's not a strong word. I was absolutely addicted. I felt like I would shake. I needed to have one. Maybe it's the caffeine, maybe it's the sugar, maybe it's the bubbles, but there's an advertising. It's almost a brainwashing. I hate to say that. You know, how many commercials that you see, good looking people on a hot day at the beach are sucking down an ice cold soda of any brand. I don't care what the brand is. Mm-hmm. And it's like cigarettes, you know, oh, you're sexy when you smoke, you're sexy when you're drinking it. And it's really bad for you. And it's all that sugar in there. It just pounds you. And on top of that, it's unlimited. Yeah. You know, you go to the convenience store or the restaurant. Oh, refills are free. Oh, God. Well, you know, I paid $6 for my hamburger. I'm going to get another soda. So you think that you're putting one over on the restaurant when in fact they're putting one over and then some on you.
Totally. And it's not just type 2, it's horrific for, but it's also horrific for type 1 because the amount of sugar, it's like, if you're not going to eat candy because you have type 1 diabetes and you don't want to take insulin, why the hell would you drink soda? It's just going to cause a really high blood sugar and then a spike because it's simple sugar. So, which should also tell you how it acts in a normal person's body. If it causes a blood sugar spike and then a crash in a type 1, that's what it's doing in a normal person. It's causing you to have a lot of energy, and then a crash. And that soda crash people talk about, like, oh, they crashed from the soda. That's real. Like, it's not like a fake thing, you know? But it's just interesting because, especially how it affects type 2, because soda, basically the reason it affects type 2 is soda leads to insulin resistance. So your cells are way less sensitive when you're producing a ton of insulin. And that's why there's insulin resistance, because soda requires so much insulin. So that kind of plays a role in it. And it also leads to leptin resistance. Dobie, do you know what leptin is?
Leptin? That's one of the seven dwarfs, isn't it? Sleepy, dopey, leptin, lefty, righty.
Leptin. So leptin's basically a hormone, and it kind of like is your signaling to your body of, hey, I'm done eating, or hey, I'm full, or hey, I've had enough calories. And when you drink soda, basically your body doesn't signal that. So it leads to leptin resistance. So if you consume a lot of fructose, it means you don't know when you're full. So basically you just need more calories and you're just consuming more calories. And this leads to excess fat gain. So that's why that causes leptin resistance, and leptin resistance leads to insulin resistance. And also insulin resistance increases your belly fat. So, I mean, imagine all those 10 sugar cubes being pounded around your organs. It's like visceral fat, which is visceral fat is around your waistline. Basically, like imagine just putting a tire around your waist, you know? It's terrible. Terrible.
Not only is it terrible, I don't think the average person, and I know I'm a weirdo in many ways, but you can't just drink one. You can't just say, I'm going to have one. And I know now as we record this, it is coming up on 3 years that I have not had a soda, a diet, or a regular. I'm not trying to be a crusader. If you're listening and you're a new diagnosis, well, who do you think you are? I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I heard these kind of facts that Sammy and I are talking about right now, and it scared me. It really did. So I stopped out of fear. And I thought, boy, and you look back at all of it, and it's like nothing good can come from it. And I will say now, I don't miss it. I haven't had one in 3 years, but if I have one, I know myself, I'll be right back on it. I'll be like a drug addict, like a crackhead.
The Diabetes app is an online community platform that was created to help people living with diabetes find support and information in one spot.
And on the Diabetes app, you can join groups and connect with other people all over the world who are also living with diabetes. I mean, for me, whenever I have a bad day, I find myself scrolling through the mental wellness group, just to reassure myself that I'm not alone.
The Diabetes app has a resource section where you can find articles, recipes, tips, and tricks for managing your diabetes. Download the Diabetes app today and connect with us right on the app.
Now, I'm talking all big like I, quit soda for 3 years. I did, but you got to drink something. And I don't know how you are. Some people do not like to drink water. They just don't like it. They find it boring. And I understand that.
Before we touch on that, I need to get out my guiltiness here.
Uh-oh, Sammy. We have a confession coming.
I love Diet Coke. Yes, I know everybody just went,
no, not at all.
Everybody's like, oh my God, that girl, that's a health junkie, likes Diet
You
Coke.
and 50 million others within how much? We got to talk about this because it's out there. Everybody drinks it every day. You're not a golf fan, are you, by any chance?
Well, no, but my boyfriend golfs, so I go outside.
Your boyfriend golfs. Well, he's probably there's a famous golfer named John Daly, and he's a big guy. He's known for his excess, partying, drinking, drugging, everything, gambling.
Balls to the wall?
He is way balls to the wall, literally and figuratively. They said in gambling, he lost $50 million golfing he's a professional golfer, and he's very popular. He's very likable. He's a big party guy. Anyway, as I'm doing research for this episode, I watched a video with John Daly because he said he had an addictive personality. And they asked him, how many Diet Cokes do you think you drink in an average day? And he said, probably 20 Diet Cokes in a day. Again, he's an extreme, but I don't think he's that far off. There are people that sit in an office. Again, I'm not condemning, I'm not judging, I'm not shaming anybody. And they'll just drink one Diet Coke after the other. It's in a fridge. Maybe there's a cooler, with something in it at work, and you go to the break room and you just pop another one. You don't even think about it. If you drank water like that, you'd be doing well for your body. But diet soda is a diuretic. Your favorite letter in the alphabet is P. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not talking down to you, Sammy. What do you like about Diet Coke? I want to know, just curious.
So here's the thing. When I got diagnosed, I never really drank soda, but my mom, I think, felt bad and my dad. So they were like, oh, you can drink diet soda now.
Mm-hmm. My
mom also loves Diet Coke. So it kind of ran in the family. So started drinking Diet Coke, liked it a lot, but I just liked the initial taste. I was like, this is just punctual and tasty. And
how do you spell that?
It's MCK. And I'm kidding.
Smack. But that's the thing. That's what I got through talking about earlier. It's that it's a sexy thing on a commercial. There's always a good looking person doing the after something that's fun. I'm not talking down to it, but it is an image maker.
So here's the issue with it. For type 1 specifically, it's kind of difficult because you don't want to drink anything that has sugar. So you're like, oh my gosh, I can't have anything that has sugar. I need an alternative. Diet Coke's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is more or less true. But the issue that I have with it is I know how not healthy diet soda is. So for example, I know that Diet Coke can kind of mess up your sweet tooth and kind of trick your body to thinking it has sugar, which means it's going to release insulin or think it needs more calories and turn off that leptin signal. The other thing is that it is linked to heart disease. It is linked to negative kidney health. It is linked to childhood obesity. It has a lot of negative effects. It affects your gut microbiome. It increases your risk of osteoporosis. It can cause tooth decay. It's linked to depression. So as I'm reading this, I'm like, why the hell am I drinking Diet Coke? But it's not good for you, obviously. And I think the issue about it is that because it really doesn't cause a significant recognition in weight gain, people have a tough time stopping it, including myself, because you're like, but I'm not noticing anything.
It's like a slow long-term effect, like smoking cigarettes. Well, I don't have cancer. Well, you've been smoking for 30 years. You might not get it till you're smoking for 50 years.
Exactly. And so the issue is that it's just so difficult because it's like, okay, well, you're not better off drinking regular soda. People like to argue that. And I'm like, okay, no. I'm like, if regular soda was like cane sugar or like coconut sugar, then okay, you could make that point, but you can't make that with high fructose corn syrup. But as far as like, just regular soda, like neither of those are good alternatives. Tea, coffee, maybe like there's a couple like sparkling waters with a hint of flavoring, which I know you like.
Now, I want to stop this for a second because you brought a good thing. And Queen Elizabeth said, come up with some alternatives. And I agree with her that I thought drinking those sparkling waters was an alternative. Then I got to studying a little bit more and I looked at some of them, not all of them, have the artificial sweeteners that are in Diet Coke. So you might as well drink a Diet Coke. You know what I'm saying? Sucralose, phenylalanine, famorlama ding dong, and all these big long. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that they were in a lot of those things. I think you have to be very careful when you look for the alternatives. I'm thinking, well, I'm the shiz. I beat the system. I can have my bubbles, drink it too. I'm not the wiser. Then I got into it a little bit more. I'm thinking, boy, you got to look at labels. I don't care if it's food for carbs. Drinks are important too.
Yes. And I mean, it's daily drinkers even see like a 70% higher risk of developing type 2 of Diet Coke. It's just wild. And I think I definitely drink less of it. I think part of the thing that can be tricky is like we said, you want to find your groove. And for me, dealing with diabetes, it's like, okay, if that's like the one thing I can have that doesn't affect my blood sugars and I eat pretty much perfect other than that, so be it, right? And I think that's an attitude a lot of times that we like to have with certain aspects of life. And I think that's fair to an extent. And I'm a firm believer, like I know that it's negative on your health, but I also know that you can't say, don't ever drink it at all. Like that's just not realistic to say to somebody like, if you do this, you're bad. Some people it works, some people it doesn't. And for me, I know it does work. I could easily stop, but also there's times that I'm like, so be it. Like I had it once. I was at dinner. I had a Diet Coke. Screw me. I'm terrible. But you know what? I just ate completely whole food, plant-based, oil-free. Like,
oh, wait a minute. Okay. I want to back up a little bit. That's why the whole reason JMT exists is that we're human. We're people. We have off days. We go for diabetic burnout. We all go through that. What's wrong with having a Diet Coke if you like it? I'm just saying, what, in your opinion, as a drinker, do you consider moderation? Is it one a day? Is it a 12-ounce can? That's what I want to get to.
So I have typically, if I'm in an environment and I was eating out every day, I'd probably have one a day then. However, a lot of times I really don't because I have my coffee twice a day. So if I'm not in a place that I'm going to order a Diet Coke or I only had one coffee and I'm in the afternoon and I need to pick me up, I'm not going to have Diet Coke. So the benefit of that is that the last 2 days, I didn't have any Diet Coke. But the 2 days before that, I did not because I remember I had 2 coffees and I wasn't in a place where I was I needed Diet Coke. I didn't go to dinner or anything. I was just at home. So to me personally, it's something that maybe only when you go out, drink Diet Coke. Maybe if you go out though every day, then maybe limit it to every other day. But I do think there's something said about only keeping it to one. Any day you do drink it, only one, which I'm at fault for because if I go out, again, like we said, refills. But if it's a can, I only have one. I don't even drink the full can, which is funny. So much of a concept of social drinking, because when I'm out and about, I'll have 3.
Very much.
On ice. At home, I have 1.
And I think the same thing too. You got to know yourself.
Totally.
I know myself. If I have 1, I'll be back on it like an addict. You can have 1 or maybe 2 a day and you're not going to go off of that. And I respect you for that. But I think especially if you're listening and you're newly diagnosed, test the waters first. You got a long way to go. Get in the habit. And it's like, you know what? Like Sami said, I had a good plant-based meal. Everything was good. Yeah, I can treat myself. It's not going to kill me.
Yeah, because I think we get on this like societal pressure that you have to be perfect. It's just not reality. But there are alternatives, and those alternatives include like sodas that basically, they're made using not other substances, because that sounds weird, but like lower calorie sugar options, as in like coconut sugar, or they're made using organic and raw, clean ingredients, which is really cool. And there's a bunch of different brands that are like that, where they have like 8 to 10 carbs a can, and it's all organic, natural sugar. And that I think is awesome. Or like monk fruit or stevia. Those are really great. And I think that those are better options. Obviously, they are going to take a little bit to get used to the taste. But I mean, anything and everything does. So it's all about adjusting and making a change. When I first went plant-based, I was like, what? This is what good tastes like? But I mean, that's what it is, So you just adjust.
I'm just saying from a point of view of somebody that did get off the regular soda and found a way to substitute. I like bubbly water. And there are some things that are just water with bubbles in it. There are some brands, off brands. I can't name them all, but you can find that.
Yeah.
And there's no calories, there's no sugar, there's no additives, no artificial sweeteners. And to me, I thought, I'll never get used to it. Now I am totally used to it. I like it. Took me a little while to get used to, but man, I don't feel guilty at all. I see my friends around me, and I don't judge them, but I see them down in the bedwetter. It's like, boy, I don't have to go through those side effects and the negative afterthought, and I can still enjoy. I like the bubbles. I like the cold drink and the bubbles. Now, caffeine, you're a coffee drinker.
It's all about the bubbles.
It's all about the bubbles, baby.
Well, the other thing too that's interesting about it is like, with Diet Coke in general and any kind of soda, it's like, it's good for the first second, but sometimes I'm not like, it's not like I'm like craving it after. Like, I'm not like, this is so good. I'm just like, it's the initial sip of it that I'm like, oh yeah, this is yummy.
Some people talk about that with smoking too, like the first drag on the cigarette is what it is, and the rest of it, they really don't care. So now, I don't know how you are, but I would buy it in the little 20-ounce bottles. The resealable bottles.
Yeah.
So you get that first little hit.
Yeah.
I was raised by my grandparents, and they taught me not to waste. So if I pop a can and I drink a couple of them and then I don't finish it, I feel guilty because the bubbles are gone and I throw the can away. When I have the bottle, I would just take a quick little hit and I could drink it all. I don't know if that's a weirdo mindset from the Depression era, whatever. I'm just being honest.
No, I know what you mean. I get it. That makes sense, actually. I was at my boyfriend's. I got the giant size of Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it so I could just have it. And I was just taking sips of it when I was there. But, ultimately with diabetes in general, my blood sugars, I came up with this thing last night. I was laying in bed. I don't know why I thought of it. And I was thinking to myself, sugars say no, SSN. Sugars say no. What kind of things do my sugars say no to? And that one of those, my sugars say no to soda. Like, they just don't like it. My sugars say no to candy. SSN, social security number. No, I'm kidding. Sugars say no. Like, they don't like it. If like someone's like, do you eat that? I'm like, sugars say no.
But I think you got to think, it's like, okay, is the little bit of pleasure that I'm going to get worth all the BS that's going to cause me? And if you can say no, like it is, I'm very proud of you, Sami. That's very mature of you.
Thanks, Dobie. I tried.
But I still, we all make I don't want to say the wrong choices, but we can have treats too. That's the hard part. I think a lot of endos and a lot of people from the medical point of view, you can't ever have this and you have to. Well, I don't want to live then. Just give me a whole wheat bullet and I'll put it through my head and end it all.
Yeah.
Moderation, and you got to live life too. And it's so hard to balance, but that's why we're here. If you're listening, we want to be your friend in need, is a friend indeed. Talk you off the wall. Hopefully you're exercising as you're listening to this episode. And Sami, we got a question of the pod too.
So question of the pod is, what is your fun drink?
Fun drink? You can have fun and have a drink.
Yeah, my fun drink's coffee.
Coffee's your fun drink?
I love it. I take that back. I don't know if I love black coffee, but the one I just made is so good.
Is it only hot coffee or iced coffee too?
I prefer iced coffee. I'll have a hot coffee if it's freezing, but I always prefer iced coffee.
Now, you sent me to Starbucks, and I have nothing against it, but that's just not a place I normally go. And they have so many frappa-wappa-dappuccino, ding-dong, wing-wongs, and coming out in umbrellas and stuff. That's kind of fun. Those drinks there are fun with ice cubes in it, and they taste pretty good.
They are. See, they are. What's your fun drink?
I'm pretty boring but I like just the bubbly water. I like the bubbles. I like the cold beverage. I'm cool with that.
Okay, well,
it's fun for me.
I kind of need to try it. So I'm going to need you to bring it when you come out here in September, please.
I will bring you a 12-pack out there. No doubt.
Perfect.
So if you're listening, please drop us your fun drink too, because it might give Sammy and I some ideas to try them too. And that's the whole idea.
Yes, please drop it. You can share it with us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at JustMyTypePod _ Facebook at JustMyTypePod, and our hashtag JustMyTypePod. Again, though, you can find Dobie and me at JustMyTypePod. So we love to hear it. We love to have conversation. We'd love if you give us a 5-star rating and review to get the diabetes community together and up and running.
And also, we like it when you listen. We have a shout out to go. The lovely and talented Abby is listening to us. She was freshly diagnosed just 2 weeks ago. Abby, welcome to JMT. She said she's listening to our past episodes. We encourage everybody to do that. We talked to a lot of interesting guests. We got a lot of great subjects about type 1 and type 2. Don't be a diet snob.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you're one, don't listen. Not listening.
I like that diet snob.
I got that from you, Sammy. That's the thing. We don't want diet snobs here. We're open to each other, and we appreciate that. So with that in mind, thank you, Abby. Thank you for listening. Thank you to our pod squad, Queen Elizabeth, keeping all the wheels turning behind the scenes, Zach, our intern. And before we go, it's time to put the sugar-free cherry on the healthy Sunday one more time.
C'est la vie, baby.
This is the Just My Type podcast.